Hi everyone, it's Claire again. So I was going to talk a bit about Lammas and Lunasa, which is today, the 1st of August to 2nd of August, and it's on the wheel of the year. I actually don't have my wheel here at the moment, but it's actually a beautiful ceremony which and celebration of the first harvest. So, which is all about the grain and the corn and the barley and so on. Which actually yesterday here, just outside my window, there's a whole field, sort of a few yards away, really 200, 300 yards away, and they cut that corn yesterday. So a lot of the debris is flying past the window. Amazing. And you can hear the combines, harvesters from, some way away. So the focus of the holiday is really about blessings and remembrance and reflection. And really, it's like about recycling as well. And it's a lovely time for relaxation as well. And the Celts celebrated it from around the 1st of August until, sunset, that was, until sunset on the 2nd of August. And also, it's called Lunasa after the god Lugh, the Sun King, whose light wanes post summer solstice. And the summer solstice is obviously Lifa, is actually the peak of the sun, and then it starts to wane, although you wouldn't be able to tell that at the moment. I mean, the temperatures here are glorious. And the Saxon holiday of Lammas celebrates harvesting that grain. And really, it's like communion as well. The bread is blessed and it becomes the body of God and is eaten to nourish the faithful. You've got that analogy going on as well. And grain is associated with gods who are killed and dismembered. It's a bit gory, and resurrected from the underworld by the goddess. Gods like Tammuz, Osiris, and Adonis. And the story of Demeter and Persephone is the story of the cycle of death and rebirth associated with grain. And Demeter is the fertility goddess who will not allow anything to grow until she finds her daughter who's being carried off to the underworld. And you've got various sort of, iterations of Lugh, really. You've got Lugh, Lugh, Irish, Lugh, Llew, Welsh, and Lugh, Brittonic, or Lugus, the Celtic sun god. And also you've got links with the name, with Leon and London, really. Londinium, as the Romans called it, I believe. So it's high summer, and the union of the sun and earth and the god and the goddess have produced the first harvest, if you like, in Wiccan terms, really. And the first grain harvest is that time for gathering in and giving thanks for the abundance we have in our lives. And then the following one is Mabon, which is the autumn equinox, which is the harvest of the fruit. And then the third one is Samhain, which is linked with Halloween, the final harvest of the nuts and the berries. And the name Lammas is derived from the loaf mass, which is showing the importance of the first loaf for harvesting. So Lugh initiated festivities for his mother, Taltu, feasting and, festivals and things like that really were very fashionable and the right thing to be doing. They had bonfires, they had circles, they had dancing. And August is actually a really traditional time for ham fastings and weddings. And some friends of mine, was it August or September, they had an amazing wedding and hand fasting, and I was a bit involved in that last summer. It was absolutely lovely. We ended up in Greenwich in London as well, which is fantastic. So yeah, that the energy is high. You can feel it really. And even though the sun is waning, the darker winter days are beckoning. You've got absolute abundance in nature. Obviously, it's been hugely, hot here in the UK and Europe. Lots of fires everywhere. That fire energy is really, really, high. But also you have to think, well, we have got we've had that rain as well in the winter. We were inundated with rain, actually, I think, in the spring. I've forgotten it almost, but March, April. We've got to be more careful with our resources, haven't we, really, and get the balance right as well, as we know. So at Lammas, the goddess is in her grain mother aspect. The harvest mother, earth mother, Ceres and Demeter are linked with it. And yeah, you've got the grain harvest is gathered in, and there's food to feed the whole community. And often within that harvest is the seed of the next year's rebirth and regeneration. The grain mother is ripe and full, heavily pregnant, as it were, so she carries the seed of the new year's sun god within her. And there is tension as for the sun god, the god of the harvest, the green man or John Barleycorn, surrenders his life with the cutting of the corn. And he's both eaten as the bread and is then reborn as the seed returns to earth. And it's kind of this bittersweet whisper of immortality, really. So the cutting of the first grain and the last grain are really significant. And the first sheaf would have been ceremoniously cut, probably with a beautiful golden scythe or something like that, at dawn, winnowed and ground and baked into the harvest bread, and then shared to the community. And the last sheaf was also ceremoniously cut, often made into a corn dolly, and carried to the village with, having festivities, and it was central to the harvest supper. And the corn dolly was made into a corn maiden after a good harvest, but a hag or a crone one after a bad harvest. She may be dressed with ribbons and even clothed as well. Ooh, it's flying here. The last sheaf would live in the home, often above the fireplace or the hearth of the home, till the next harvest, all placed in branches of a tree or mixed with seed for next year's sowing. And so the fertilizing spirit of John Barleycorn of the harvest god would pass from harvest to harvest. And all the grains include things like wheat, barley, oats, rye, represent the fulfillment. You've also got some lovely herbs. So you've got meadow sweet, the queen of the meadow, a real druid herb actually, good for wedding circlets and bouquets and even love spells. And mint as well. I've got mint in my garden. And lovely for the druids to have used, and also for vervain as well. And that's meant to really be linked with abundance and prosperity. You've got sunflowers like I'm wearing today. In the Aztec temples of the sun, and the priestesses carried the sunflowers and wore them as crowns on the head. And it's a real symbol of the fertility of solar logos. And the calendula, which are like little suns. I've got dried calendula somewhere. It's all yellowy, lovely. You can make potpourri with all these flowers and herbs as well. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can also make beautiful posies with the herbs and give them out if you're having a little gathering. It's a lovely thing to receive, actually. It'll last a couple of days, three days or something. So, yeah, Lammas, it was the feast of the wedding of the sun god and the earth goddess. And in Ireland, blueberry baskets were offered to sweethearts in commemoration of the original fertility festival. And you had in Scotland Lammastide fairs become famous for the trial marriages that would be ended without question after a year if they didn't work. So that's good. And there's much law associated, Lore, with the day, including proverbs like after Lammas Day, the corn ripens as much by night as by day. And there were symbols like sickles and scythes, and the Celtic people held a tribal gathering around August 1st where they had games and contests, and there were trial marriages done with the, hand fasting. Flocks and herds were rounded up before slaughter at Samhain, and then the grape harvest, begins really after this, really. You had also gods and goddesses associated. So, you had Adonis, Dumuzi, Lugh, Odin, Loki, Baal. Then you got Ceres, Ceridwen, Demeter, Inanna, Ishtar, Kore, Persephone. And some lovely things to do with. You could put all sorts of new things on your altar, like grains, like the wheat. I've got husks of wheat on my altar. I don't know if you can see down here. You probably can't see individual things. And, you know, it was just a lovely time, really, to celebrate. You've got colours as well, like golden, yellow, orange, green, light brown. Stones like aventurine, peridot, citrine, cat's eye, golden topaz, obsidian, clear quartz, carnelian, those sorts of things. And there were certain animals which really celebrated, like roosters, calves, stags, griffins, centaurs, and the phoenix. Several herbs. I mean, there's too many to mention really, but acacia, traditional calendula, we said cyclamen, frankincense, heather, myrtle, oak leaves, sunflowers, vervain, and loads of incense like passion flower, frankincense, sandalwood, rose hip. And really, fire, the element of fire, is really sort of traditional at this period. Unfortunately, we have got fire. To me, it's always like too much of it. And candle magic as well, which enhances manifesting. Dragons are really, you know, linked with fire, and salamanders that are blue and white and purple in colour. If you look at a candle flame, you can look at the colours and see those colours in it. And it warms our inner world, really. The astrology at the moment as well is incredible. And you've got you've just had the Aquarius full moon, and I did a video for that. You've also got, I'll do something for the eclipse season. So the 12th of August is the first solar eclipse, and you've got great energy sort of happening with the eclipse. Eclipses can be quite harsh energy at times, but it's a very good thing for clearing. And I've had one or two really, you know, more difficult things to deal with happen sometimes. It's probably needed, and a clearing away of stuff. And then you've got the lunar eclipse towards the end of the month. I can't remember the date, but I'll have my finger on the pulse with those ones. So that's a little summary. I hope you have a lovely day today and tomorrow. So that's the period for Lammas Lunasa. And this is the Wheel of the Year, which we celebrate. The Wiccan Wheel of the Year, really. It's traditional. It's going back, you know, thousands of years, really, looking at what started a lot of traditions, really. Very linked in with the land, very linked in with the sun, with the harvest, with the farming traditions, and so on. So I was just looking at some of the verses I had. Oh, also I did something on Facebook, but I was just going to say my rain chant, because we need some more rain. So I've got, we pray for rain and for our crops, land, gardens, reservoirs, for wildlife and plants, and fill our cups so they spill over. May the world be in balance and nature be in total harmony along with the climate. Bless the clouds, sky, and rain clouds. So you might want to repeat that if you can catch it. Maybe write that down. I've also got the blessing chant, which is a nice one, so I'll just end on that. May the powers of the One, the source of all creation, all-pervasive, omnipotent, eternal, may the goddess, the lady of the moon, and the god, horned hunter of the sun, may the powers of the spirits of the stones, rulers of the elemental realms, may the powers of the stars above and the earth below, bless this place and this time, and all who are with you. So, happy Lammas. Take care.